I was
Targos.
born in the Remembers, shaped by the Remembers, molded
Uh,
by it. You merely adopted the Remembers, Pepperidge Farms.
So you guys find yourselves all sitting adjacent to each other in uh, a tavern in the town of Targos, one of the 10 towns that make up 10 towns in Icewind Dale.
Familiar with each other, or
I don't think
just
any of
making
you.
acquaintance?
Yeah, just making acquaintances at this point.
Okay.
Another drink, please. Tender. Please give me another drink.
Yeah, yes, sir. What was it that you were drinking?
I can't quite remember, so, whatever you recommend.
Look, I guess another ale for you. I better watch it though. I'm not gonna serve you that many more. Not tonight, at least. And he slaps down another ale for you.
Thank you.
Can you describe your character there?
I am a furbolg, about, I don't remember the age I made. About average height, average build overall. Got some red hair though. Definitely looks scruffy, like I rough it 90% of the time out in nature.
Okay. So definitely, kind of a little bit on the wild man side.
Yes. Much
Okay.
more than traditional civilization.
Well, sitting across from you is a rather unusual looking creature. It is definitely a warforged, but wearing the robes of one who is following the path of enlightenment. Looking for all intents and practical purposes like a monk with bronze skin and golden glowing eyes.
By the gods, what is that? That can't come from nature at all.
It's a construct.
That's unnatural, that's what it is.
And it cocks its head slightly. It is Wei Fo. And I assure you, I'm actually very much alive.
How?
I've
What
read
are you
about
doing here?
creatures like you before.
And I have not read about creatures such as yourself.
Oh, I'm a gnome. I'm a constabulary or some. Well, I suppose I don't know what words a monk might have for it, but I'm, a practitioner of magical arts for the. Well, I suppose you could call it a guild. Um, so what I look like is just kind of a short, almost kid-sized, but um, kind of hairy, gnome. So pointed ears, gray hair, wearing like a cloak over a cloak, kind of a thing. But it's less like a wizard's cloak and more like I suppose what you'd consider a bookkeeper to be wearing. So kind of a just cold weather gear, but buttoned down.
Are the two of you related?
I wouldn't say so. No.
I've never seen this man before in my life, so it'd be kind of odd if he was.
But wait, do you mean related as in kin or as in makeup? What do you think? What are you asking?
Well, it's just that Your hairstyles, they're quite similar.
I look over at the Furbolg's hairstyle. An astute observation, I suppose. Yes.
In my order, wearing your hair the same signifies that you are all part of the same order.
What about your hair?
I have this. He tugs on a top knot, being the only patch of hair that is actually sticking out of his metal skin. It looks fine and silken.
So other constructs use the same, or do the monks themselves wear their hair like that?
The monks wear their hair like this. I do not know if I was intended to exist.
But yet here you are, existing like the rest of us.
Indeed. And here I am.
But how and why? Never heard of this before.
Yeah, these are questions that I have meditated upon for 175 years now, I believe.
That's a good chunk of time. For thinking, yeah.
It was not just thinking, but also a lot of listening. And being hit. Being hit a lot.
Hit? That's not good. That seems quite cruel. Who would want to be hit all the time?
A training mannequin.
Ah. And you have feelings towards being hit always? Or is it just normal?
Well, I believe it's actually what woke me up. You see, I had... what is a term that you would use? I suppose it's similar to resting. But it was a deep meditative state. I vaguely remember hearing the lessons of the masters and watching the students as they go through their routines. But then every day, I also remember many students coming up and practicing their moves upon me. One day, I woke up and decided I no longer wished to be hit.
Now tell me, were there others like you in this monastery?
None that I have ever found.
Incredible.
I believe that I may have been designed from an earlier age. Designed to assist the monks by learning the teachings and then being able to pass them on. However, I don't remember.
What did the people of the monastery, the other monks, what did they have to say about this strange outcome of being, huh?
Well, the first monk that I interacted with, I believe his thoughts were, "Ah! What are you? Who are you? What are you doing? Get back! Ah! Quit moving!" I believe that was the correct response.
Interesting.
I suppose that's about the only response you could have given something like that. Something was inanimate for their whole life and suddenly starts moving.
I suppose, and from their perception, it would be accurate. Although, from my perception, I just simply sat there and contemplated. Many of the masters have done very similar things before, although I suppose just not for as long as I have.
I'm sure many masters don't even have that many years in their life to think about such things as you've already spent thinking about this alone.
I would imagine that the elves do, but they seem to have bodily needs. They have to get up periodically and expel things from their system, and also imbibe things, such as you are doing with, um, is that ale you called it?
Yes, ale.
What is its purpose?
To help me enjoy myself at the end of a day. Help me relax. Make me merrier.
Hmm.
And I'm drinking tea.
Because he does
Similar.
not want to have fun, apparently.
Well, it's a different kind of fun. You see, it makes you more awake. It's less, well, it's less obtrusive to thinking, in my opinion. No offense. Um,
None taken.
it's the way I settle down for the day. You know.
Interesting. I believe that both of you would be able to benefit from meditation. It has very similar principles to both of these things.
I think I actually rather do my own form of meditating. Pick up my backpack full of like books and incantations and historical writings, and kind of open it and slap the top of the books. When I study, it's kind of like meditating for me because I step out of my own head. You know?
Is there anything that in the stack of books there that has an elvish title by chance?
Um, yeah, there's a book that says a history of the Eldar arts.
Ooh. And Wavefo reaches out and plucks the book and starts flipping through it.
Well, be careful, please. It's bindings are old. They're old. It's hard.
It looks quite fascinating and written in the Elvish tongue. I am familiar with Elvish. I've
Good.
often considered the possibility that I was created by the elves.
Well, you think so?
It's entirely possible. Of course, I also understand the common language. So it's possible that humans were the ones that created me. Although it would also be logical that that would be an important language for me to know to be able to talk to most people.
Well, you need to. Are you looking to, well, find clues to where you came from, or is that why you relate your language to your lineage, perhaps, or your origin?
It is just one of the many things that I have meditated upon.
Huh.
And I am innately curious, which does lend itself more to believing that humans would have made me, as elves are far less curious. Humans are one of the most curious, unless, of course, you count halflings, in which case halflings win out, most certainly. But I do not speak halfling.
I see. I see. Humans definitely are an industrious sort. That's that much is obvious.
And inquisitive.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Inquisitive. Well, to infinity. They know no end at all. But how is it that you've come here? What path did you take to get this tavern? Are you with somebody? Did someone bring you here?
Ah, I understand your questions. My feet brought me here, and I walked along the Faux Ridge mountain range to get to this location.
I see. How long have you been here?
3 days, 17 hours, and 27 minutes.
Well, I suppose that's well, precise. That's good. Where are you going? You have a walking partner?
I do not know where I'm going.
So is someone telling you to go where you're going?
I suppose ultimately we are shown our path, though it is our own feet that must tread upon it.
Well, suppose I can get behind that. Firbolg, what did you say your name was again?
Dayla Forsworth.
Layla.
Yes.
Right. Well, what brings you here?
I simply stop by the towns every once in a while to relax, as I normally live out in the wilderness in the cold. I feel much more at home in the forests and in the mountains.
It's the ale, then, that brings you in, huh?
You could say that.
Well, that's understandable. Certainly a harder thing to find by foraging, no doubt.
Yes.
Can you not make your own?
Let's just say my ale has not come out correctly yet.
I
And
see.
the ale that they make here is fabulous.
Interesting. Barkeep,
Yes.
may I have what he is having?
Sure. Coming right up. And he leaves for just a moment to get a fresh draft of ale before returning and setting it down in front of you. Enjoy. Fine. Sir? Sir, is it?
I believe so, yes. Thank you.
I'm sorry, we don't get many like you up in these parts.
I am the only one of me that I have ever seen. But that is not to say that there is not an equal somewhere.
I've heard
What
of
does that
others
mean?
like you, but they are few and far between, especially in these lands.
Well, Barkeep, maybe you know, but is he even able to drink ale?
You know, I don't know.
Have other constructs ordered ale before? I'm like, while I'm asking this question, I'm scribbling notes down in a little notepad.
And I'm just observing way really intensely. I've never seen a warforged before.
Like, well, we usually don't get, we usually don't get, constructs ordering drinks. I mean, you've got the mouth, I suppose it wouldn't hurt you to drink.
Yeah, well, I suppose so. Well, take it away, Way. If you think you'll be fine, I guess it's alright.
It tastes like bad water. Barkeep,
Ah,
is this
description.
water that has gone bad?
No, that's, ale. That's how it's supposed to taste.
It's more like, it's like barley that's gone bad.
He takes another sip. Yes! Barley. Hops. Yeast. There is a distinct fermentation process that has occurred.
Yeah, you're starting to get the idea there.
And alcohol. Not strong enough to ignite, though. It cannot be used as a fuel source. And he sets it down on the table.
That was a little party trick there.
Need the hard liquor for that fuel source.
The what?
The dwarven spirits. The much stronger alcohol concentration, you can actually burn it. If so
And
desired.
Waitho cocks his head slightly. Do you have these? Spiritual dwarves?
Close enough. Yes, dwarven spirits. Spirits not so much as the non-physical embodiment of a person, but spirits as in a type of hard beverage. But
May
yes,
I?
here, one for you on the house, and he pulls out a small shot glass and tops it off with some dwarven spirits.
Thank you. Oh my. This is very complicated. It takes a good while for this to be processed, does it not?
Yeah, quite some time. It's
The dwarves
dwarven,
have
after all.
spent years and lifetimes perfecting their craft, making such things.
It does not take a significant amount of heat in order to be able to set this on fire. This would adequately be able to be used as fuel.
Some people
But,
do in a pinch.
Tell me, Wei, how do you feel right now? What do you feel anything strange? Do your feet feel odd, or is this just what's happening in you right now?
Hmm. Well, my metal is feeling a bit warmer. I think because my core is heating up.
Hmm.
And he finishes the dwarven spirits.
Interesting. I'm writing stuff down in my notepad, still scribbling and kind of looking up. What is your core exactly? What's in there? It's not fire, is it? Is it spiritual energy? Do you know?
That is a good question. I could ask you the same.
Well,
Well, you've got a fair point.
oh yeah, I suppose he does, but in me is mostly just bone, blood, just altered forms of water, organs, things like that. And there's a characterization of the weave that we all live in. It's a template of a person that functions within my head, my brain, and that's what keeps me going. So mine's a little bit more. Well, I guess we've had more time to explain how it works. Yours, not so much. That's why I ask.
It sounds to me as if you have just described what you had originally called me, a construct.
Yeah, I suppose. But I don't know if you've got blood or if you've got cogs or what's in there. I know it's mostly just metal, but well, I don't know. We don't need to pry you open or anything to find out, but it would be most interesting if we could tell what it is that gives you the strength, the cognition. It's interesting. It's
Well,
interesting.
I do believe that I am designed and created with a combination of hydraulic systems as well as very complicated gear mechanisms that are intermeshed.
Hmm. Hmm. So, is it the gear mechanisms that oh, carry your embodiment of the weave, or is it something else?
I do not know.
Ah, discovery to be made then. Most
Indeed.
interesting. Most interesting. I'm gonna pull out my book bag and kind of set it on the counter and take a deep swig out of my tea and start pulling some books out and flipping through some pages and stuff.
Dalar,
Yes.
did you notice that this gnome did not share with us his name?
You are very right there. Will.
My apologies. My apologies. Sorry. I get quite distracted. I'm a bit of a tinkerer. I get into my books and I get into things, and I lose track of what's going on. My name is Biltram Marcubius Glatz. Like I mentioned earlier, a sort of hand for the Mages Guild, a worker bee, as it were.
It is an honor to meet you, Pitram, as it is for you, Dalar.
Yes, an honor, an honor. And then
Yes.
kind of go back into my books and like start flipping through pages more rapidly, that kind of stuff.
Is it common to say your full name when you meet other people?
I think it depends on the culture you are raised in. I have found that some do and some do not.
I see.
I don't think there is a right or wrong answer to that, or a yes or no, straight up. Well then, Wei, where are you headed to next? As you've mentioned, you're just kind of wandering.
I have no particular place to go.
Do you just follow the roads to the next place you find?
Well, I go until I am guided somewhere. For example, I was guided to this tavern. Here, I remain in a meditative state to see, well, what there was to see. I have met you two.
So, well then, yes, I don't have any books that talk about, whatever it is you are. You said that, you are, Warforged or something like that? Is that what you said?
That is correct.
Ah, okay. Alright. Well, I know what to look for. Next time I visit, the guild, see if we've got any books, see if there's anything we can find out. Always a good mysteries. Plenty of fun.
That would be interesting to see what there was written about my people, I guess.
Yes, or commonalities. Maybe they're not kin, but they work in the same way. I don't know what to say. It's an interesting situation. But so we're talking about where we're off to, right?
Yes. And Dalar was discussing about how he enjoys living in the wilderness.
Okay.
And
all right.
it is interesting to me because all I have heard so far upon this journey is complaint about being outdoors in the cold.
Yes.
It is fascinating to me to meet someone who actually enjoys being outdoors. Is that something typical for a Furborg?
I think they're typically more used to being out in the wilderness, whether hot or cold. We kind of learn to just adapt into whichever environment we're put into. As I have spent most of my life up in the cold here, it does not bother me anymore.
Adaptation is preferable to balance and harmony. It
Yes.
makes sense.
When you say
Exactly.
most of your life, were you born in the mountains?
You could say that.
Oh, okay. All right. How old are you, by the way?
I don't really keep track of my age. I was kind of raised by a mishmash of animals in the wilderness up here when I was young. And I've just kind of adapted up here.
I see. All right.
I found that keeping a number for an age doesn't really do me any good. I'm not going to do anything different based on whatever number I have in that.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. Yeah, you're living, well, as it were, freely. Yeah.
Exactly.
We would call it in the now.
In the moment.
Being
Sure.
mindful of one's surroundings and the events that are unfolding as you speak.
Right, right. So, well, I'm not entirely sure what what the two of you's goals are, but oh, I've got a bit of a mission that I'm on myself right now. That um I'm trying to find something that no one else has been able to find, and
What
I'm
is it?
not entirely sure. Well, not entirely sure what or where it is.
Are you sure it exists at least?
You know, no, I'm not. It's
This is
so.
fascinating. It sounds like you and I are searching for the same thing.
I suppose we might be, yeah. Um, so for me, I've got this writing, and well, I rather not share it at the moment. What exactly it says, just because it's a specific tale entrusted to me by the Mages Guild to go search for clues to what it could be, and well, supposedly it's something very, very important. And I'm not sure why it's important. I just know that it is. So um, I'm doing what the guild is telling me, but maybe if maybe if we spend some time together, and I feel like you all be willing to help me over time, maybe I'll let you in on the secret. That sound like something good?
Are you
I could go
asking for
for an
my
adventure.
assistance?
I suppose, yeah. Assistance would be great.
I will be happy to assist.
And it seems that well, Daylaw is always down for a good little bit of fun, maybe, right?
I have not been doing anything too particular myself lately. I've just been enjoying nature in my free time as I always do, making sure everything is all balanced up here in the wilderness.
Oh, I see. And will they remain balanced with you away then?
If anything, I'll just make sure everything's in order wherever we do go. Things always stay in balance by themselves, but sometimes a little nudge doesn't hurt it.
Huh. Okay.
I can
Such is
always keep
nature, I
track of
suppose.
it. Yes, I'll keep track of what's going on as we go on our little journey.
Right,
Can't stay in
right.
one place anyway for too long.
All right.
Mitchum,
Very, very well. Yeah.
I do believe that Dalar is a very wise individual.
You know what? I would agree. I think he is too.
I have heard almost the exact same lesson being taught by one of the grandmasters.
Oh,
To
really?
always seek and strive for balance and harmony. And sometimes that balance and harmony needs a little nudge to
Hmm.
help it along its way.
I see. I would
It
say
is the
some of my
purpose of monks.
teachings. Yeah, the purpose of monks, indeed. I can imagine. Some of my teachings are a little different, but well, fairly well the same. Everything. Well, everything has its cost, right? Um, you can't get something without giving something in return. Uh, Trick is to know what to give when you want to take, and find ways to, well, make it right. Well, I suppose it's similar, but well, the trade of wizards has always been to control the weave. Controlling's a little bit less like, well, um, balance. It's a little more like well, control. There's a ruler and a follower. The goal is to be the ruler. But that being said, all is nature. There's always a way to describe where things come from when they're given or taken, right?
And yet, with each ruler, you find within them a loyal subject to yet another ruler.
I suppose you could look at it that way, yeah. Everyone's beholden to something.
And so
Just,
the balance always remains.
Yeah, there is a balance.
Even in the give and take, as you say, you have asked for my assistance. And in payment, I presume, you will eventually offer friendship. At the very least, you will be offering companionship.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose that is a give and take, isn't it? I'll help you, well, when you need it. If you figure out what you need, I'll be happy to help.
And the same for you, if you ever figure out what it is that you seek.
Yeah, well, the way I figure, it shouldn't take too long. We've just got to find, well, some kind of clue between the Sea of Moving Ice out to, well, the south and the edge of nature to the north. So I'm sure we'll find it somewhere eventually.
And
There was no time limit on my mission from the guild, so really there's no rush.
and I believe that for the time being, I know what it is that Dalar seeks.
What's that?
Barkeep.
Yes, sir.
You
Isn't
weren't
that
well.
quick?
May we have another ale, please?
Of course.
And a tea, green, please.
Oh, and one more of those spirit dwarves.
Coming right up. Comes back a moment later with the 3 drinks.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you, barkeep.
That's nothing.
Indeed, it actually is quite something. In this forbidding land where so many people suffer from the cold, you offer warmth and shelter, you offer companionship, and these drinks, which make him happy and keep him awake and make my metal warm.
A magical place indeed, isn't it?
Indeed.
Well, it's the least we can do for those who must live out here.
Odd. I would imagine that the least that they could do would be to tell them to stay in the stables with the animals.
Oh, well, if this is it then where are you all staying tonight? I would assume Dalar is, well, maybe sleeping in the woods.
Yes, I don't need to rent a room. That's no need to spend money on that. I could save that for drinks.
I would
I
assume...
was assuming I would spend time in a corner, as I did the previous nights.
Well, how does the corner treat you? Isn't the floor quite hard?
I am harder.
Oh yes, but it's not quite comfortable, is it?
It does not harm me. I don't
all right.
understand your line of questioning.
Well, how about you just come stay at my you can just come stay at my room in the in you know, at the inn, and well, I don't have an extra bed, but there is a chair with lambskin, and you can sit on the chair, and you'll see. Let's see if the chair feels any better for you. Is that okay?
Very well.
Well, whenever we get done drinking and doing our thing, I will elect to press on towards the old cabin or inn for the night.
Yeah, and Weifo will follow suit and settle in on the chair and slip into his meditative stance.
And I'll go find somewhere nice out in the woods nearby, and find a nice tree to sleep under. Eat a nice good berry. What I mean.
And yeah, nice, good berry. And as you are, departing, I'm going to point to the inn, like, kind of through the frosty wind, just down the road from the tavern, and just tell you to meet us there then the next morning.
I'll give you a thumbs up as I walk away.
Do not let the cold make you irritable.
Do not worry. I don't think that is possible anymore.
Then we have already been doing good. All right, somebody kill that kid.
Yeah. if I hear that in my inn, we're gonna have problems. What the fuck? What the fuck?
I feel like I missed something.
Oh yeah,
Are you talking about the child sound?
yeah. The toddler in the sound loop in the background stuff
Mm-hmm.
Like the tavern.
that pops up every once in a while and goes. It's like, all right, somebody kill that kid.
And I said, yeah, if I hear that in my inn in the nighttime, I'm gonna go ape shit on this.
Remember what I said about helping out the circle of life, right?
Yeah. We're ending this one.
Well, it's just like the circle of life, like in The Lion King, except just imagine that as he's holding Simba up, he's like, yeet.
Yep.
Just
just-
yeets him out into the crowd. Hope you know how to crowd surf.
Anyway, Colin, I don't know how long you were out for, but we basically just enjoyed the drinks, and then as we finished up, Wayfo and I went back to went back to my room at the inn,
Mm-hmm.
and he's sleeping on the chair, just so he can try out meditating on the chair instead of on the floor. And then we told Dayward to meet us at the inn in the next morning.
Yeah, because I'm going out in the woods.
All right.
Although it looks like there might not be any woods close
Yeah.
to Targos, so if there's like a singular tree nearby somewhere, I'll find a tree like on the outskirts of town and just kind of lay under it and sleep.
Yeah, you can find like a singular tree.
Yeah, like obviously there ain't no forest nearby, but I'll find a tree and just lay under it and sleep.
Hey, how do you do like the like emotes kind of thing in the typing box over here? Is it the same thing?
Slash me will work, or slash E, I believe.
That's what I thought. Nice. All right, well, introductions made. And just to make sure I didn't miss anything, I didn't miss anything about Owena's character, did I?
No, we'll figure out how to work her character in.
Yeah, I'm assuming she just wasn't. She isn't
I
here
don't
at this
think
time.
that's going to be difficult since we already had it in the background that she and I were from the same monastery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She
She'll
can
track you down.
she can quite literally be like, Wayfo, where have you been? I've been looking all over for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or even the other way
How
around.
did you get way up here?
Right?
Last I saw you, you were walking through the forests down by fucking salt marsh. What the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
So now you've met Wayfo.
Here we go.
Yeah. Dayla.
A most peculiar character indeed.
A Warforged training dummy. I mean, yeah, you can't get any weirder than that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then you've got Dewar, who's basically just a hippie stoner. So
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I'm already totally digging Dalar.
Yeah.
Just
He's a full-on
he's
hippie.
he's just like, dude, I just love communing with nature and getting fucking drunk.
I mean, basically, that's it's like I love being in nature, but I gotta go to the tavern to get me some ale.
Right? It's I mean, when you think about it too, historically, that's the only reason why man ever became civilized. You know, we had to band together to protect us from beasts, but we didn't really hang out until we made booze.
Yeah.
You know,
Touche.
then we created fucking pyramids and shit. I mean,
And then things started to get real crazy.
right?
Of course, the
I
booze
mean,
back then had a lot of funny mushrooms in them and that kind of stuff too. So.
it's like, all right, I want to put a bunch of fucking stone. I want to stack some stones over here, like to the sky. Why? Fucking reasons, man. Now get the beer
Looks
and let's
cool,
go.
dude, shut up.
I don't pay you enough to think. Just put the rocks there.
Yeah.
This is my job.
Quit making me
Like-
look lame in front of my friends, bro. Shut up.
Like, look, you get as much beer as you can fucking drink. Now let's get to it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's enough right there. I'm pretty sure basically what I'm trying to say is the Egyptians were the first rednecks.
I'll buy it.
I can dig
They,
it.
Sure.
they worked long fucking hours. They drank beer. They
were super
enjoyed.
racist.
They were very, very racist, and they enjoyed violent sports. I mean,
That's
you know,
very true. Yeah, you got a lot of bases in common there.
yeah. I
It
mean,
all
you
adds up.
had to switch over to the Roman Empire before you got to sodomy and chariot races, which was the equivalency of NASCAR back then. But I really feel like the Egyptians embodied the original redneck, and then everything else kind of spread from there.
Sure.
But yeah, Romans were full on fucking rednecks, man.
They just embraced it completely.
They did.
They're like, this shit's fucking cool.
You sleep with whatever or whomever you want. Get drunk all the fucking time. They had the chariot races. They had gladiatorial events.
It's like excessive violence for sports that everybody loves.
Yeah, outhouses were actually a communal thing. I mean, and when they were sober, they invented amazing things. That's pure redneck right there.
Yeah, I can dig it.
The reason why that fits is because amazing can also be used to describe something that is just like bafflingly stupid. Like, wow, that is amazing. Yeah, like
This
that
is
you
true.
came up with that. That is amazing.
Yep. But I mean, in all fairness, rednecks are also pretty resourceful. I mean, you know, if you've got a car that ain't running and you need it to run at least for a short period of time, you could have a top-notch mechanic or a redneck, and if you're stuck in the middle of nowhere, you want the redneck because he will MacGyver that shit.
Yeah.
He'll be like, all right, I got me a beer can, a wedge of chew, and some wire cutters. I'm good.
Let's
I
go
figured
rock
this
some
out.
shit. Yep.
We'll get this car running, man. Don't worry about it. Ain't nothing but a thing.
Yeah. Sounds about
Learned this
right.
from my cousin.
I saw a bunch of that shit this weekend while I was out there on the river. So.
Sounds about right.
Well,
Yeah.
if it was any kind of tubing, I mean, that's inundated with rednecks. That's redneck culture right there that you're stepping into.
Yeah, it's like going to church for them.
It really is. I mean, you're communing with nature.
Yeah. No, I think the most redneck thing I saw was there was a guy with a canoe that was towing he was just riding the canoe and he had a rope tied to a beer cooler that was bungee corded shut, like floating in the water, tied to the back of his canoe because his canoe had a dog and some like his wife or something in the front. So like he had a bunch of stuff in the canoe and there was no room for the cooler, so he just roped it to the back of his canoe and bungee corded it shut so he could just drag it around.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
So that's the most redneck thing I saw.
That's American ingenuity right there.
Yeah. Well,
I've
I guess
actually-
that's not the most redneck thing I saw. There's much more redneck, but that was the most redneck, like, I guess, invention or like thing that somebody put together. Where it was like, oh yeah, okay, all right, you've done
Yep.
this a time or two before.
Yeah, where my family lives out in Virginia, it is not uncommon to see like a guy or a couple of guys sitting in a fishing boat, like Carolina skiff or something like that. They got their lines out there in the water, and they're shooting the breeze. You can see, yeah, all right, he's got an anchor going over here. You know, the line's kind of sticking out at an angle. And then there's a rope hanging off the side that just goes straight down. And it's very, very common to see that. And it's not a second anchor, which a lot of people
Yeah.
would think when they see it. It's actually where he's keeping his beer.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times in the streams and rivers, it's actually cooler just to keep
Really
that
cool.
shit in the water
Yep.
than it is to actually try to throw it into a cooler and everything else. Because, I mean, fuck it, the cooler's for the fish.
Yeah.
I mean, that's their
Yeah.
logic.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, they crack me up.
All right. Well,
I think these guys will be pretty fun.
Yeah,
Seems
definitely.
like I got a pretty good group of characters.
yeah, I think we should have a good time with this. Sure.
Mm-hmm. We'll start
Oh.
off with the campaign proper first thing next week.
All right, man.
Sounds good.
Sounds awesome. I like it.
Sounds good. Yeah. You guys have a good rest of your week, and I'll talk to you on the next one.
Yep.
All
I'll
right.
catch you guys next
Yeah.
week.
Have
Take
a
it
good
easy.
one, man.
Peace.
Peace.